And welcome, everyone. I am Gary Gatto, and this is RaceVerse coverage of Round 9 of Season 2 of 2022 of the RaceVerse Formula Indy Series, coming to you from Road Atlanta for the Sanders Motorsport Petit Indy. If you put le in front of something, it becomes French, I guess. But joining me for expert analysis in the booth, he is my partner from our Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split coverage from the NHR Esports team in the Lionheart IndyCar Series. My butt kicker, please welcome, let's see, Steven Larkamp. Or is it the Steven Larkamp? I don't know. But Steven, man, it's good to have you here. We're back to the road course after the one-off on the Oval. And looks like we're going to have championship leader back in the lineup this week.
You know, it usually sounds better when you put things with say things with a French accent, but I'm not sure if it worked in that case.
No.
But but anyway, yeah, you are right. The star of the championship is back in earnest. Mitch Welker. He had some situations to deal with, so he could not make last time out at Michigan. But now he is back in an environment that he knows best, as he's going off on his final attempt to go for pole position right now, sitting fourth on the grid. And we'll see. He had a bobble coming out through the S's. Let's see what he can do. But Welker has about a 2-hole race win advantage in the points right now. And he has won every race this season except 2. He finished third at Spa-Francorchamps, and of course Michigan, well, he didn't really get much of a chance to start at Michigan. So having him back here right now, he's definitely got to maybe make up for some things in his mind, but there's no doubt about that. He is the man to beat this season. He has been on absolute tear, and let's see if he can indeed keep that momentum going. And we're at a track that I think a lot of drivers love. Road Atlanta is fast flowing. It's everything a race car driver loves to drive on. And the racing here, the product on the track, can be really, really fun to watch as well. It's true in sports car racing. Unfortunately, Indy cars have never raced here in real life. And of course, Formula 1 hasn't either. As there it is, 105 dead on. 0-0, zeroed it out. He is on pole. But Road Atlanta, like that kind of lap time, it shows how fast these cars are here. These lap times, I will note, they are over 2 seconds faster than the overall official lap record here at Road Atlanta. And that is an average speed of around 142 miles an hour. Road Atlanta is one of the fastest tracks in North America, and it's one of the most fun. I think every driver had this one earmarked on their schedule as a race that they were really going to enjoy.
Yeah, it's got your uphills, you got your downhills, you have your twisty parts, you have your long straightaways, you have your slow areas. Just about a little something for everybody on this type of race course. And even I think even oval racers do a pretty decent job racing at this place. It's a very fun course to go to. As mentioned, IndyCar has never raced at Road Atlanta in real life. It's the closest they ever came to appearing on track was Road Atlanta appeared on the 1980 USAC Champ Car schedule, and the event was canceled. Beyond that, there have been what we call Indy Lights races here in the past, where we've seen Dan Weldon before, and I believe Townsend Bell were in those races. But IndyCar for real in terms of kart, IndyCar IRL, USAC, anything that led up precursors to any of that, no, never raced here at Road Atlanta. And frankly, I don't know why they haven't, to be honest, especially here recently, since this is now the kind of the sports car site for our version of Le Mans. Of course, Petit Le Mans is here, so all of the safety facilities have been upgraded. You'd think IndyCar would maybe want to come here, but it's not on the menu.
Yeah, and when you have tracks like Road America also on the schedule, it makes it even more of a question mark. But who knows? Maybe its time will come. Road Atlanta is always looked forward to on the sports car calendar, and fittingly enough, the overall lap record, as I said before, they is around 2 seconds faster than what is about, right now, the lap times we're running here, I should say, are about 2 seconds faster than the overall lap record here, and that was set by Christian Clean in a Peugeot 908 HDI FAP, those glorious diesel Le Mans prototypes. And that was at the 2008 Petit Le Mans, and that race itself has become rather something of a classic now on the sports car schedule. And the unofficial lap record is actually faster than what we're seeing tonight. That was set by Marc Genet in a 2003 Ferrari F1 car, a 101.2. So that is insanely quick. That's touching 150 miles an hour average speed, and that would put Road Atlanta up there with Monza as one of the fastest road courses if Formula One were to ever come here. Yeah, and if IndyCar were to come here too, it'd probably be up there as well.
There's the picture of the track map, and if you look at the track from above, kind of shaped like a bit like a ribeye bone-in steak. It's got that one area sticking out there that got turns 6 and 7, leading up to the long straight, which is actually they call turns 8 and 9. They're just slight bends before you get to the chicanes there at the bottom of the hill, where you get 10A and 10B, then 11 at the top of the hill. But then you're into the meat of the course as you're coming to 12, then the main straightaway, then up turn 1, going back uphill into the S's, and going and then the S actually you go uphill, and then as you hit the S's, it's like a slalom. It's like you're skiing almost, going downhill slaloming, and then they all downhill. Then they go back uphill again to turn 5, and then they hit the first of a couple long straights here. You got the long front straight, and you got the long back straight, and then you got a long side straight here. So, like I said, something for everybody at Road Atlanta. I mean, heck, even though you got an oval guy like me kind of excited about the place, that says something. So we're getting ready to warm up. We do have a lineup that we want to talk about here. So we will start getting those graphics on screen for you and getting everything laid out for the start here momentarily.
And everybody heading out now for their 5-minute warm-up before we really get things going. It'll be 49 laps they'll be running here tonight. Consensus seems to be it'll be a 2-stop race this week.
All right, you ready with the starting lineup? Go right ahead.
And on the pole of, well, this should be a little surprise. It's our old friend Mitch Welker's number 76, a 105.000, right on the money. Alongside him, Nate Siefker, the winner, though the somewhat bewildered winner last time out at Michigan after a certain incident happened right at the end. Caleb Bensi will be starting third on row number 2. Alongside him, Gavin Sanders, who was in a running for the win last time out as well. Bruno Miranda, the driver that had the win taken away from him at Michigan because of track limit violations, to put it bluntly. He will start 5th, trying to make up for that error. Alongside him, Joshua Tucker in the number 16. Row 4, Nick Johnson is number 28. Usually a better racer. I don't expect him to stay there for long. Alongside him will be Jeff Groff in the number 25. Simon Sykes, our resident real-world racer. He will start 9th, and alongside him, rounding out the top 10, Frankie Franciccia in the number 96. Simon Sykes in the 84. Row 6, Facundo Rago. I may have been butchering that name, and I apologize.
No, that's right. That is correct. He is our champion from our Brazilian Stock Car Series. I've talked him into coming out and making the starting lineup, and for a guy that's never touched IndyCar, starting 11th is awesome.
Very good stuff there by Rago tonight, and I'm glad I pronounced the name correctly. Alongside him will be Christian Jasper in the number 44. JJ Wang in the number 61. He will start 13th. And alongside him, the fish car of Cody Claiborne will start in 14th, car number 31. Matthew Short in the number 35 will start 15th. Alongside him, AJ Digby in the 81. Matt Houston in the 66. He will start 17th on row 9. Alongside him, Sahaj Padhar in the 72. Tommy Joe Valenzuela's 021 will start in 20th position, I'd say. Sorry, I missed Logan Spath completely. He will start 18th. Padahar will be 19th. Tommy Joe Valenzuela will be 20th, as I mentioned before, in the 021. And then Cristobal Valenzuela in the number 33. He will start 21st, alongside Rodrigo Munoz in the 99. The 12th row, Dakota DeMade, a rough qualifying run for him, and Hugo Gallas. Row 13, Victor Aldrich and Daniel Miglin. And then the final row of the grid, row 14, Drew White and Peter Donchak. Donchak did not post a qualifying time. But we are told that a few of these drivers, namely, I believe Digby and Tommy Joe Valenzuela and
Sykes,
and not sure who
Sykes,
and yeah, Simon Sykes. They all have penalties, so they will be starting from pit road. So move some people up a few spots, perhaps.
Yeah, Sykes and Tommy Joe Valenzuela are going to be serving penalties that they incurred from Brands Hatch a couple weeks ago. And A.J. Digby will be serving a penalty that he incurred from last race at Michigan. And those three will be starting from the pits. Everyone else will be doing a standard standing start.
Yep, of course, that's the big difference, of course, is the standing start. And here at Road Atlanta, it's going to be an interesting one because they line them up just before the start-finish line, of course. But that start-finish line is immediately after the final corner, so they are going to be lining them up coming down a hill. So this is going to be a pretty interesting standing start. Rolling starts here at Road Atlanta are usually pretty eventful in their own right, and having a standing start here may make it that little bit more so.
Hey, we got a little bit left time here. Hey, for those of you watching, only 46% of you are now not subscribers. Actually, that number is improving, but we can still get better there. Let's help change that number now. Help us in our drive to 1,000 subscribers. If you enjoy RaceVerse coverage of the Formula Indy Series and respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. We have less than 55 subscribers to go to get to the magical 1,000 mark. So help us by hitting that subscribe button right now. We absolutely cannot get there without you. And while at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you don't miss out on future RaceVerse iRacing broadcasts. So with all that said, now let's get into it here in the ATL.
Warm-up is ended. We have everybody now being called to the starting grid. And we're already starting to see the interesting aspect of a standing start here at Road Atlanta. You'll notice that they have to make a pretty quick right turn as soon as they really start rolling, especially the guys towards the back of the grid. This usually makes for a pretty interesting scenario. I've done this these kind of starts before in Formula 3, in F2000 cars, in the Formula Renault 2.0. This is usually a kind of a hairy experience, especially if you're starting in the back, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting.
You see Welker, a lot of cars making their tire choice. Welker deciding to go with the alternates. First car not going with the alternates, Caleb Benzie, very high up at P3.
Also seeing Gavin Sanders starting on the hard tire as well. Revs coming up. We're ready to roll here at Road Atlanta. Green flag flies. Mitch Welker gets away.
Not a good wreck.
With a fantastic start. Look at this. Welker already struggling. Terrible start by Mitch Welker. He has been swallowed up by the pack right now.
Behind.
They head to turn one. Massive crash. Rago. That's Rago trying to see who else it is. At least 3 cars involved. JJ Wang is one of them. Cody Claiborne is one of them. Already a few victims tonight at Road Atlanta, but it's Nate Siefker that gets away well, going up to the S's for the first time. And look at the start by Nick Johnston up to P2 from 6th on the grid. Beautiful start by the 28.
See what happened here on the start. Oh.
Yeah, I think Welker just had that was a lot of wheel spin, just struggling off the grid there by Welker. And he just gets swallowed up by the pack there. And meanwhile, behind them, a bunch of cars checking up for Welker and trying not to hit him, but they end up hitting each other.
Wow, what a start.
What a start indeed. It's Nate Siefker now leading the way. Johnston up to second. Caleb Benzie holding station in third through all the excitement. Bruno Miranda gains a spot up to P4, trying to hunt down that 21. And Welker has fallen from the pole position back to 5th. There's going to be some work to do for the 76 tonight.
Had Nick Johnston up 5 spots already. Christian Jasper up 5 spots. Matthew Short up 7 spots. Matt Houston up 8. Paddlehar up 9. A number of guys up 9 spots. Rodrigo Munoz up 9 spots. DeMade up 9 spots. Gala's up 9 spots. Dan Miglin up 10. So we've already had quite a bit of attrition already. Peter Donchak is showing in the pits right now. Cody Claiborne showing in the pits right now. JJ Wang showing in the pits right now. Facundo Rago showing in the pits right now. Unfortunately, his IndyCar debut doesn't make it to turn 1. Joshua Tucker with a great start. He is starting. Is down to 24th.
Miranda and Bensi.
Yep.
Miranda gets squeezed out there. Here comes Welker to take advantage. Side by side, these are 2 red tire runners. They were trying to hunt down Bensi on the hards. Welker leads as they come across the line there up to 4th place. Welker, though, he will have the inside line. He clears that number 77, moving himself back up to 4th.
Showing it, AJ Digby already out, even though he started from the pits. Cristobal Valenzuela might have opted to, no, he might have had some damage and came into the pits looking at his time on pit road. He is now 22nd, still on the lead lap. Jeff Groff also made a stop on pit road, possibly to get some damage fixed. So we had a very eventful first lap. You might have to go back and take a look at all that. Jeff Groff is now back on the racetrack, but he is in 21st, still on the lead lap. Drew White managed just to bypass all this, and he has stayed on the racetrack and has now moved his way up to 20th spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to be had here on Starts at Road Atlanta. And looking back a little bit further down, Gavin Sanders is another driver who's had a terrible start in this race. He's down to 12th place as he's battling along with Matt Houston and with I believe that's
we got Paddlehar, Houston,
behind him. In
Spath.
fact, Houston is ahead of Sanders right now. Sanders up to P11 after getting around Logan Spath. But a very rough start as well for Gavin Sanders. There's definitely a lot to dissect from this start.
Yeah. Of course, Gavin wants to do well. This is his sponsor sponsoring this event. We want to thank Sanders Motorsport for sponsoring this event.
Now he's got Paddlehar and Matt Houston looking at him. Paddlehar taking a peek as, whoa, look at Sanders around the outside. And Paddlehar, Houston's off. Houston goes off wide there, coming onto the back straightaway. But it's Sanders and Paddlehar side by side on the back stretch here. Sanders will have the inside going into the chicane if he can hold it. No, he can't. Paddlehar has the run.
Paddlehar's on push to pass.
Sanders taking that line down. He's going to look to the inside here.
The backside almost came loose into the turn there.
Sends it really deep there. He really must have been confident of the grip there, side by side to the last corner. He gets hip checked there by Paddlehar. They keep it going though. Paddlehar will still have the position right now. Paddlehar defending very, very sternly right now. And whoa, you notice that curb right there. Sanders gets a bit airborne. That's got to be uncomfortable. I mean, what am I saying? I know it's uncomfortable. I've experienced that curb quite a few times.
That is such a blind turn. And if we're talking about, we'll go ahead and put the track map back up. At the top of the hill, there's a blind curb there, and I think it's what we call turn 3. You just kind of really got to guess when your turn-in point is.
Exactly. It's really hard to estimate. There's not really too many markers there, so in many ways you got to go with your intuition with your turn-in point there. It's kind of hard to do, but when you turn up laps and you're used to the setup you're running, it kind of becomes second nature over time. Like, you get the sense that, hey, I should turn here. Meanwhile, Sanders still having a hard time getting around Sahaj Paddlehar. He'll have a run looking to the inside into turn 1 this time. Side by side, Paddlehar has the momentum around the outside, though. No, Sanders is going to stick it. A little bit contact. Paddlehar sent around. Paddlehar around. He's on the access road, gathers it up there. I am sure he's going to be none too pleased with that. There's more contact. There's more fun and games as well. Going to the S's, trying to see who that was back there. There was another car spun.
Dan Miglin around.
Daniel Miglin gathers it up though, as trying to see if he's fighting a wounded race car right now, as he's got another car behind him.
Simon Sykes in the pits, damaged.
Simon Sykes now on pit road. Yeah, there's no front wing on that 84 machine, it looks like. And it looks to me like, and it was kind of the same incident that happened with Patahar. They were checking up for the aftermath of that. Gets loose over the curb, nearly clips the back of the car in front of him, tries to avoid wrecking him, and sadly it just sends him into the outside wall. And that is Simon Sykes done for the night. He has disconnected.
Back up front, your leader is Nate Siefker. And I got to say, I'm not too much of a Team Watson bright color livery car, but as Team Watson paints go, this is probably the sharpest one right here. This paint right here that he's debuting tonight here, with the pink and green lime, like light lime green side pinstriping down the side. Very slick looking car to break out here. That's of course sponsored by the Midwest Kidney Warriors, who support the league quite a bit. But good looking livery for Nate Seifert up front.
Indeed, and usually race cars look even that little bit better when they're leading the race, and that's exactly what Seifert's doing. The gap about 1.3 seconds ahead between him and Caleb Bensey, who has been turning very good laps. He's gotten around Nick Johnston, and Bensey is actually running faster than there's a car around.
That was Valenzuela in front of the leaders, and that had to cause Seifert just to lift just a little bit, and now Bensey within 0.6.
Yeah, Cristobal Valenzuela looks like he just got loose on the curb on the left-hander, that second part of the S's, and it just sent him around. The curbs are a little bit high in that corner in particular. There's certain curbs you can hit and certain curbs you can't hit, and that was one of the ones that you really can't mess around with too much. But looking right now at Nate Siefker, Bensey definitely looks like he's got the pace advantage right now on the hard tire. This may have been Johnston, the wise choice right now for Bensey, at least to gain this early track
Johnston. Welker up to P3, coming into that chicane right there.
Johnston trying to make a comeback, though. Looking through the final corner. He's trying to get the run here. Will Welker defend? Johnston looking to the inside to turn one. Wheel to wheel. Oh, really close stuff there, but Welker holds him off.
Now, in case you're wondering, if it looks like it's late in the day, it is late in the day here in Sim. So the track's going to be continuously cooling off. That's going to impact grip, at least early on when tires are cool or cold. And also towards the end, where it might even impact the visibility a little bit. They, according to race organizers, the race will end with enough daylight left. But if anything goes long, there might be a little racing in the dark here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, there's a reason for me to be wondering if they really got the timing right on that. I'm looking at the clock right now, and in the sim, it's saying it's about 20 past 8 in the evening. So, and granted that this is apparently the date is set on May 15th. So, it's definitely looking like it'll be a long evening, but yeah, I'm wondering how much light we really are going to have. And of course, you know that joke from the movie Cars that race cars don't need headlights because the track's always lit? Well, not so much here at Road Atlanta. The track really isn't lit. And that's why sports car racing here, of course, with the 10-hour Petit Le Mans, it's part of the rule book that sports cars have to have headlights. Indy cars, not so much.
All right.
I'm looking at Bensey right now.
Yes.
He has definitely got the pace edge over Nate Siefker. He is hounding the rear end of the number 2. This could be a golden opportunity. He's tucked up right under his rear wing. He's going to have the draft down the backstretch. We'll see. He looks to the, well, be the outside for the entry into the chicane, but the inside for the second part of the chicane. But I don't think it'll matter too terribly much unless Siefker makes a comeback. Not quite enough. Move the 21. Caleb Bensey to the race lead, coming to the start of lap 11.
Caleb, of course, recovered very well last week, or last race, with a solid finish there. Leading up to that race, though, he had a couple DNFs that were hounding him in the standings here. We will look at the standings here momentarily as things kind of get separated here. And actually, you know what? Now is probably not a bad time for that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the standings coming into this race. Of course, here are the results from Michigan, where you see Seifert winning over Gavin Sanders and Caleb Benzie, and unfortunately the one-lap penalty, Bruno Miranda going to the apron at the end there, costing him victory and giving victory to Nate. Moving into the point situation, as mentioned, Welker has a 2 1/4 race lead over everyone. But there you go, 264 to 185. Bruno Miranda 134. Make sure I'm showing the right ones there. No, that is not the right one. I thought I changed that before going to the race here. Here we go. We have the updated. There we go. There we go. Actually, we're starting to develop quite a battle for P4, P5, P6, P7, right in there. So the top 10 is very active in terms of people that could possibly move in the standings. But right now, the top 2 are pretty much cemented in. It's just we're going to see how much ground they can possibly make up on one another.
That really is the big question mark, and tonight is a good place to start. But looking at Caleb Benzie, he's got a fantastic run right now. He was about 9/10 of a second lead of the line last time by, and that was just after getting around Nate Seifker. And now Seifker falling back into the clutches of Mitch Welker, who is once again on the charge. Welker running a 107.2. Benzie was quicker, of course, with a 106.8. The red tire does seem to be falling off on this early stint. It's a big question mark for me of how long they will want to run on these red tires. Benzie, of course, on the hard tire, he is going to be one to go.
Seifert Kona pit road.
Nate Seifker has had enough. Lap 12 is the mark for him. Coming on the pit road. 45 miles an hour is your pit lane speed limit, and it always feels absolutely glacial coming down here. So we'll see what Seifker decides to put on. My guess may be the hard tire. That seems to be the preferred one over the course of a run. And despite what the image on the screen shows us, he has indeed put on the blacks. He's put on the hard compound tire. It just doesn't show it on the screen. Thank you, Glitch.
We've only reported it about a half dozen, or no, more than that.
Yeah, it's probably become like one of our signatures.
Yes, we know. That's what iRacing support says.
Yeah, honestly, with the amount of times we point out, I'm surprised they haven't really done much about it, because they must have had this blaring in their ear for a while. But that's a different story for another time, I think.
Well, Fagundo's already checking in. He says, "Well, hey, that was fast," and yes, it was. Don't let it deter you, though. These standing start races are always a bit hairy.
Yeah, it's always standing starts here at Road Atlanta are not commonly seen, and it's kind of difficult to do them properly with how short the pit straight is here. And of course, before the start finish line is not really a straight at all. It's a corner that just so happens that you can take it flat out in most cases. But the standing start here can be quite hectic. A rolling start at Road Atlanta can be quite hectic. A lot of people are scrambling for track position in any which way they can. It's difficult to pass in the opening part of this lap, and that's why you would normally see
check out this battle between Matthew Short and Christian Jasper at the top of the hill, going down the let's call it the Smuggler's Runway.
Exactly. Yeah, I get the reference.
So again, if you don't get the inside joke, and we'll talk about it here just momentarily. Watch this battle here on the racetrack between Matthew Short and Christian Jasper. Short with the position over Jasper. That long straightaway you just saw there, back in the 80s, the facility was owned by the Whittington family. And if that sounds familiar, they ran IndyCars, the brothers. There are 3 of them that ran IndyCars quite frequently. You go look them up there, and they often made Indianapolis 500. They often had speed. Now, it was questionable if they had talent, but they had speed, and one of the reasons they had speed is they always had really good equipment. But really good equipment with no sponsorship on it. That, of course, is one of the red herring signs that says that you're probably dealing with something illegal to get that extra money, and they just didn't have a sponsor to kind of cover it up. But what they are using the facility here for is they are using it for the flights to come in from South America to land here. The cargo would be unloaded and then distributed throughout the area using Road Atlanta. Of course, the Whittington brothers have since been caught and prosecuted and everything. It's no longer an issue anymore, but it's kind of those kind of funny 80s, and very much an 80s type of story when it related to what was going on in the racing world in the 80s. Not just the Whittingtons, but the Lemire's and the Pauls and all those guys, all involved in in fact, just trafficking in order to fund their racing habit. Ooh,
I think it even...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it even led to a little inside joke that IMSA, the International Motorsports Association, of course we know it, it actually stood for the International Marijuana Smugglers Association. I mean, with as many drivers as were doing it at the time, and of course the drug trade in the 80s was quite something, it really, I guess you could say the joke was warranted.
Yeah, there's actually
of course, that was a while back still.
Yeah, and there's also, if you want to learn more about that period in time, and here comes Nick Johnston onto pit road out of P2. There is a YouTube documentary about Randy Lanier that you're still up there. You should be able to search it out. Very fascinating. He wasn't the only one, as we said. He wasn't the only one. He was just one of the ones that got caught. Gavin Sanders passing for position on the main straight here. Pulls it off over Frankie. Actually, that was Frankie. Get around Frankie Franchica. So he gets the position and now moves up to, I believe, 5th.
Gavin Sanders started this race, of course, on the hard tire, as did Caleb Bency. I'm sure if he didn't have that terrible start, he would be up there scrapping for a podium placing at the moment. But right now, he's about 14 seconds in arrears of Caleb Bency in the race lead. But Bency right now about 6 seconds ahead of Bruno Miranda and 9 seconds ahead of Nick Johnston last time by, at least from what I saw on the screen. But of course Johnston came on to pit road on the last lap. And again, the glitch is trying to deceive you there. He's on the hard compound as well. That seems to be the preferred tire tonight. And Bruno Miranda, next driver to come in on lap 17. Running P2, started 5th, had a very solid run. I would imagine he will also want to go for hard tires as well. He'll meet the requirement to run both compounds, and he can run blacks from here on out.
Tonight's race from Road Atlanta is sponsored by Sanders Motorsport. With over 30 years of racing experience, the Sanders Motorsport team can help you from the race shop to the finish line, wherever you are. Whether you are new to the sport or a seasoned veteran, our team can customize a package that will have you on the podium in no time. From everything from a total arrive and drive experience to trackside support with your own race car, Sanders Motorsports has exactly what you need to have a successful weekend or season at the track. To learn more, go to sandersmotorsport.ca today. Oh, Bruno around! In the wall, on the side straight. He is done. Cold tires.
And Nick Johnston was so close to contact with him, but Bruno Miranda just coming off a pit road, no less. Unbelievable. Bruno Miranda, just a tiny error up on the curb there. That curb is a killer. He was under pressure from Johnston, but that curbing really did him in. It's so easy for that to happen. Unfortunately, one of the fast cars is claimed by it.
So right now we got RaceVerse affiliated cars up at the front. Caleb Bency, your leader. Gavin Sanders now has worked his way up to P2. These two have yet to stop. 19 laps on the current sit. Everyone down to P9 has not stopped yet. Everyone after P9, for the most part, has stopped.
Indeed, and looking at Bency's lap times, he's going quicker and quicker and quicker as the run goes on. Of course, that can be attributed in part to the track cooling off. It's down to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. His last lap by was a 106.3, an amazingly quick lap here. and he has opened it up to over a 15-second lead. At least that was the case last time by. Still running mid 106s is the mark right now for Caleb Benzie. He is doing remarkably well so far.
And that is right in front of him, his teammate. So probably be seeing a safe place to allow him to pass here, coming down the side straight, going into, I guess, what I call the ribeye bone-in portion of the racetrack.
Yeah, I always thought it looked a bit more like a pork knuckle, but that works too.
Either way, we're thinking meat, right? I mean, we're on the right the way of thinking here. But there you go. There is a track map again.
I mean, hey, the racing here is pretty meaty.
Yeah. I tell you what, that first lap race report is going to be very meaty when that comes out later in the week.
No doubt about that. The working lap number 20 for Caleb Benzie right now, out of 49 to run. The consensus seems to be a two-stop race, and
yeah, maybe can he do it in two? Actually, can he just do it in one?
Yeah, he is getting fairly close. If he could get it to 25 laps, that is the mark for a one-stop race. And of course, you'd have to fuel save a fair bit, but that cuts a lot of time out of your race by not having to make that second pit stop and going through pit lane at 45 miles an hour.
This is a very slow pit lane because of that turn getting onto it. Very much like how it is to get onto pit road at, say, Laguna Seca. So you lose a lot of time on pit road, and if he could spend that on the racetrack moving while someone else is using that time to slow their times down, their lap times down, that might be a benefit. So we'll see if he decides to make this a one-stopper. Can he? I'm not sure if he can at this point. I figured if he could, he might stay behind Matt a little bit longer and try to get some fuel mileage, but Matt might be injured from some of the fiascos that were going on earlier in the race. That here it is, never mind.
He's in.
And Benzie's coming in, so he's going to have to really conserve on this last run, or there's going to be a splash and dash at the end.
That would be my guess. I would think that he's going to stick with the blacks for now, and he's going to run a soft compound run right at the end of this race where it's going to be faster than the blacks, and it's going to be just in the time frame where I think they'll avoid getting to the crossover point where the blacks will become faster. But
Gavin
up
Sanders
on the Jacks go Caleb
pit
Benzie.
Road. Christian Jasper on pit road, Rodrigo Munoz on pit road, Spath on pit road, Short on pit road. So everybody that was waiting to go long, they're on pit road. Caleb Benzie down on the way, off pit road. He is opted to stay on the prime tire. And now he needs to be careful coming up to speed. We've seen it once already. Remember, it is cooling down out there.
It is. It's still hanging around the high 80s for track temps, 79 for ambient.
Oh, there we almost lost it.
Right there.
Oh, the same spot.
Same spot. That's such a hairy place, especially on the cold tires, but Caleb Benzie saves it masterfully.
And then coming with nice warm tires right behind him, picking up time, especially while he was bobbling coming off that corner there, coming off of corner number 5. Mitch Welker has now moved up to P2.
If that ain't ominous, I don't know what is. Is that black number 76 of Mitch Welker creeping up behind him. And Welker has just once again been doing Welker things. He had a rough start to this race, kind of uncharacteristic, but still, Welker has recovered. He's closed up, no doubt, on Caleb Benzie. He's still running mid 106s, and last line by a 107.2. I think he had a car in the way. The gap about 2.5 seconds between Benzie and Welker.
Man, these first laps are just actually first lap on new tires is treacherous.
Oh yeah, it's like we always say that as you saw it right there again, Caleb Benzie, I think he's in right up there on the curb, and the curbing, especially the transition back onto the asphalt for that access road, that is unsettling the car. That is something that I think Benzie will take note to avoid of, at least he should. That's definitely the point where it's really starting to get hairy, and I think as the track is getting cooler, it's going to take longer and longer for them to get up to temp. Of course, when they actually do get up to temp, the cars are faster, but to get up there, it's going to take a little while. I think it's going to get longer and longer and longer as this stint goes. And Benzie is really feeling it.
This is actually one of the closest battles on the racetrack. Let's take a look here at Seifert running down Welker as well. Hey, show your long-term support of RaceVerse and become one of our Patreon members today. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support the channel now and into the future. There are 3 tier levels to choose from. Perks include seeing your name at the end of every broadcast as part of the closing credits and special designation on our Discord server. As our patron membership grows, we will include other perks, so stay tuned and join today. Head on over to patreon.com/raceverse or click on the link in the description to pick your tier. Do not delay. Do it today. Thank you very much. And now back to the action on hand.
And Bensi didn't give us a heart attack for a third time that last time by coming out of the S's. But I'm looking at the battle right now with and looking at the battle behind him. Welker trying to close up. He was a little bit quicker last time by on Mitch Welker, but he's still got a gap to pull on him. Both of them running on the hard tire. Welker is seeming to me like he's going to run blacks at the end of this race. He's kind of running the inverse of what Bensi is doing and what Seifert, Johnston, and Sanders and company are doing. Well, Johnston also started on the softs, so he'll likely be running hard tires all the way to the end of this race as well. So Bensi still holding about a 2.5 second gap. He was a tiny bit quicker than Welker last time by, so we'll see if Welker can do something about that, and because he really needs to make it work here and now, because when Bensi comes in for the Reds, I get the feeling that it'll be just enough to the point that he'll be able to pull even more of a gap over Welker, who I have no doubt he's going to be running blacks to the end of this race.
Got JJ Wang checking in the chat here. Already says that the TWR team has loaded his wounded car onto the hauler, and they are out of there. They're already putting the car together for the next race. So that is JJ Wang checking in chat. Hey, real quick broadcasting note. On November 19th, the Indy Open Saturday Strength of Field broadcast that we'll be having will conflict with the Open Wheels 500. In an effort to remove as many conflicts as possible for the iRacing IndyCar community, RaceVerse is looking to reschedule our Indy Open Strength of Field broadcast for that weekend. Options are to move the broadcast to Friday or push the broadcast back a couple hours later to the day on Saturday. We're currently discussing this with a couple participants, or a number of participants, right now on our RaceVerse Discord server. If you have some feedback and would like to offer some, please join the discussion. Actually, the invite link can be found in today's broadcast description. So go ahead and click on that, join the discussion. Thanks. And now let's back to the action here, watching Mitch Welker, who is turning about the same times as Caleb Bensi at the moment.
Yep, they're running pretty even. Last time by, they both ran 106.7s. Caleb Bensi a teeny tiny bit, only 2/100ths of a second faster, in fact.
Yeah.
Welker trying to do everything he can right now, but Bensi seems to have the pace advantage, and he seems to have the benefit of having good track position right now. They'll have a lap car of Dakota DeMade coming up relatively soon. DeMade running 108s right now, and he's a couple of corners ahead. Of course, a teammate to Caleb Bensi, he will probably be playing nice with him.
He should.
At least he should, or else I think both Matt Houston and Gary are going to be kind of upsetty about that.
I have no power or say in that process. But hey, if you're just joining us, this is RaceVerse coverage of the Formula Indy Series coming to you from Atlanta, where we've completed 27 of a scheduled 49 laps. Thanks for watching. While you're watching, don't forget to click like and subscribe to the channel and click the bell for notifications.
Looking back here at the battle for 6th position, I see Frankie Francischia coming under pressure from Rodrigo Munoz. Munoz has had a fantastic run so far. Started 22nd. He's up to 7th and battling for 6th right now.
Francischia on push to pass.
Francischia on the Reds. Munoz running on the Reds as well, even though that glitch now running the inverse right now. Side-by-side stuff coming down into the chicane. Francischia defending to the inside. Can Munoz get the comeback?
Munoz
No, he can't.
squirrely under braking coming out of that chicane. That's going to cost him, but see if he can run him back down again. That gives at least a little breathing room for Frankie to hold on to P6.
Munoz got really twitchy there. He managed to save it, though. Well done to the driver of the 99 machine. But Munoz now has all that to do again. He's still holding
off
the
wide at the top of the hill. Going downhill now.
Petit.
Pushy cones out of the way. And now Munoz is right back with him.
Oh, man. Then Franchigia makes an error. Munoz makes an error there. This is going to be, like, these two are really putting the pressure on each other, I think. Getting ready to head down that back straightaway once more. We're working lap 28. Our race leader is about to start lap 29. Down the back stretch once more. Franchigia trying to get the run. He's definitely in the draft. Munoz, I should say, is in the draft of Franchigia. Franchigia defending in to the outside. Munoz looking to the inside for the first part of the chicane. Munoz sends it in deep, really tight there. He has the cut off speed on the exit there, but move him up. Rodrigo Munoz up to P6 from 22nd on the grid.
The Backfire guys are pretty decent on the road courses there, and they tend to show up pretty well for these races.
Very fantastic stuff for Munoz tonight, and all these fun and games has brought Christian Jasper into the fray as well, making it a 3-car battle for P6.
Yeah, Christian has very quietly had a top 10 race all race long. We did not see him at Michigan. It's been a couple weeks since we've seen him. Definitely his racecraft is improving a lot on the road courses.
Very much so. And now Jasper trying to stay in the draft of Franchigia, heading down the backstretch once more. As they got a lap car in the way. Trying to see...
That's Victor Aldrich.
That's Victor Aldrich in the 98 as I thought I heard... thought I was hearing things a second ago. A little bit of a moment. Not quite... don't think it was...
Gavin Sanders on pit road. Gavin Sanders on pit road.
Gavin Sanders in for his final stop of the race.
And he is on the primes to finish it out.
Yeah, I believe this is Sanders was running on reds in that middle stint.
He was. And again, do not look at the lights on the backstretch coming down into the chicane. Do not adjust your computers, your laptops, your televisions. This is actually very late in the evening sim time, so it is getting dark. Do not adjust any of your brightness levels or whatever unless you absolutely need to, because this is in the sim. This is accurate. We are late in the evening here, in the 8 o'clock hour down south here in Georgia, and that is why it is getting dark.
Yeah, it's in sim time. It's 8:45 in the evening down here in Brazelton, Georgia. Not too far away from Atlanta itself, of course, hence the name. But and the one thing that you may be noticing, because of course we're doing this in early October. Of course, the nights are getting longer as we get more and more towards the winter. But you're wondering that is this kind of accurate to what we would expect? But at the same time, if you look at the in-sim info like I am, this is apparently being set in the middle of May, so this is the time of the year where the days are getting longer rather than the nights. So this is about the lighting that you would expect if the race was held on, to be specific, May 15th of this year. But looking at this battle right here, the night may be getting darker, but the action is getting brighter. I see Mitch Welker all over the back of Caleb Bensi right now. Bensi really having a lot of things to worry about. Welker now within half a second of Caleb right now. He has been turning laps, very, very quick laps, about half a second faster even.
Yeah.
Mitch Welker, once again, the looming threat. That voice in the back of your mind that Welker is coming. He has arrived. He is right up on the rear wing of Caleb Bensi now.
Of course, he's in a livery honoring his late father, who just recently passed. And, of course, all of our thoughts and prayers to his family and condolences. I've been right there with you, my friend, this summer. So, losing a parent's a hard one. But he is keeping it the spirit of his dad here, channeling here in this effort to run down Caleb Bensi, and he is right there.
Right up on that rear wing now. Mitch Welker once again turning lightning fast laps. He's about a 10th up that time. Of course, catching him is the easy bit for Welker. Passing him is going to be a bit tricky. Bensi is not going to take this fight lying down. We're waiting on the final round of pit stops. Welker started this race on reds. I would expect him on the pit road relatively soon. And Caleb Bensi will probably be stretching it pretty long, and he will be running reds at the end of this race.
Now, Caleb, I would imagine if there was any other driver that was up at the front, seeing Mitch Welker in your rearview mirror is probably like seeing Darth Vader behind you down the trench run in Star Wars A New Hope. But Caleb, you got to keep in mind the guys in the Lionheart IndyCar Series where everybody is just as good as Mitch Welker, if not better. And he's races against those guys all the time. So having Mitch Welker in his rearview mirror should not be bothering him at all. And right now he actually puts a little bit of distance between himself and Welker on this lap.
Got the run he needed there, did Caleb Bensi. As we're working lap number 34 of 49. It'll be 15 to go next time around. And Welker really putting in the effort, of course. Welker's team is always the one that does their homework. They've done a fantastic job all season. Now, can they beat Caleb Bensi, who has given himself a fantastic situation from everything that's happened tonight? Nate Siefker in for his final stop. He is, of course, running on the hards.
Someone's going to set some Red Bull laps here at the end of this thing. Oh, and right, he comes out right in front of Spath and Short for position. So careful, Logan. Nate needs to make sure that he brings those tires up the temperature. Of course, he's on a lighter car, too. He's on a full tank on this run.
And Siefker's really going to have to get his tires up to temp. It's going to get trickier and trickier as this night goes on. It's getting colder. But this lead battle, Bensi and Walker, this is turning into a great showdown. Daniel Micklin reporting he's coming on the pit road for his last stop. As they head up the hill towards the very top of the circuit. Welker kind of losing ground a little bit there, but it's kind of that ebb and flow you get in a battle like this. Welker on the button. Trying to see as Bensi defends to the inside here. Side by side stuff. Welker tries to send it around the outside. Bensi holds his ground. Round the outside he goes. Wow. Can Bensi get the run? Welker staying with him.
Ooh.
Oh, almost contact there. Very close stuff. But Bensi will hold on to it. Welker has to yield.
In and out of these portable lighting towers. Now lighting up the early, or I guess we would call it early evening, the early darkness here in the Atlanta, Georgia area.
It's getting a bit harder to see your markings here, even with the lights. Of course, unlike sports car racing that you would normally expect to see here at Road Atlanta, these cars do not have headlights. They normally don't need them, but it makes it that little bit trickier. Of course, you got the portable lights there that can give you a little bit of help. Seeing where you are at and that tiny bit of sunlight that's left certainly helps the cause as well. But it makes it that little bit trickier to really mark where you want to place your car. Once again, Welker tried to look to the inside into the chicane. Trying to see who will come in. Welker comes in this time.
Hopefully you got slowed down enough there.
Now, Welker, I'm wondering, one thing I'm possibly wondering is if he picks reds as well, and Johnston also on pit road too.
So I'm going to actually move Christian Jasper depending on where he is. Coming through 10A and 10B up the hill, down the hill now on the main straight. Christian Jasper might pick up P2 just momentarily while we're doing pit stops.
Welker down and away. He is on the hard still. He seems to like these hard compound tires better. And Jasper does clear Mitch Welker for the time being. Jasper, I believe, has to pit as well.
Showing Welker on the prime tire.
Yeah, he's sticking with the hard tire that may... it's saying to me that he's a lot more comfortable on them, and that those soft compounds fell off a lot quicker than I think he would have liked.
But those bumps in 5 even looked hairy for Welker.
Yeah, that's always a hairy moment there. I don't care who you are in an open wheel car. Those curbs can really bite you. You see it very often in highlight reels that a lot of self-spins here at Road Atlanta happen right there, and it's for that exact reason. That curb can really catch you out and the transition back onto the asphalt.
Let's go back to the roll bar cam here, and that is what you see here is basically what the driver sees. That's how dark it is. That's how dark it's getting.
Really is getting that bit more difficult. That little bit of lighting from the floodlights helps, but you still got to rely a lot on your intuition, your knowledge of the track. Of course, basically everybody in this field knows Road Atlanta. As Jasper in front of Mitch Welker, he bobbles up on that curb there. Welker senses his chance, takes advantage down to the inside.
Jasper gives him lots of room.
He will get the job done. Jasper playing fair with him. I think he realized the situation he was in.
Very clean racing there. Jasper down to third. Jasper still might have to pit still. We'll see. He's 16 laps under his current. Yeah, he'll definitely have to stop again. He'll stop short.
Yeah, too.
Meanwhile,
Welker.
back up front by about 30 seconds is Caleb Bency. Right in front of him is looks like Frankie Franchica. This is he's lapping the field up to P10 right now. Franchica P10.
And after that, Rodrigo Munoz in 9th place is about 1 minute behind Caleb Bency. Frankie Franchica 1 minute 5 behind.
Once again, if you're just joining us, you're watching RaceVerse coverage of round 9 late at night. We're dancing the night away, folks, of the RaceVerse Formula Indy Series coming to you from Road Atlanta, where Caleb Bency leads with about 10 to go here very shortly. Show your support of RaceVerse. Become a member of the Patreon page today. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, so don't miss out on the next race. As we continue to dance the night away here at Road Atlanta. Of course, in the slightly olden days, we would see probably flash bulbs popping, but not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, here, maybe they'd like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe they'd like it if they were teleported back in time to the 90s.
Caleb getting a little squirrely there on corner 7 exit, so those tires are definitely giving way. Might not be a bad idea for him to go ahead and make that pit, but the Delta, I think, is going to put him behind Welker, I think.
Well, his last lap was quicker than Welker right now, so he seems to be clawing a bit of time while Welker was struggling on cold tires. As he heads down to the start-finish line once more. End of lap 40. A 106.7 was his lap that last time by. Welker, the previous time by was a 106.8. We'll see what it is this time by, as he's cleared Christian Jasper, and he's really making good progress right now, I would think.
Welker headed down Smuggler's Run to the chicane. Christian Jasper in P3. He'll still need to stop. Nate Seifer, he is done with his pit stops for the night. He is in P4. Nick Johnston is done for his stops. He's in P5. Gavin Sanders, it's questionable whether he might have to stop again or not. I don't think he does. He's in P6. Matthew Short, P7. Logan Spath, P8. Rodrigo Munoz, P9. And, of course, we just saw Frankie Franchica there right near our leader. He is in P10. 9 cars on the lead lap. 17 cars left running. 28 took the green.
and a lot of them, a lot of the victims of this race are knocked out of it on lap 1. It was a crazy start to this race. Road Atlanta starts, especially Road Atlanta standing starts, can be quite hectic, and that is certainly what we saw tonight. And Bensi still turning mid 106s. Well, and he was running faster than Welker the last few laps. So Bensi's doing everything he needs to do to build up that gap and then come into the pits right at the end, maybe take a splash of fuel and change onto the red tires and maybe even go for fastest lap in the process to end this race.
And again, don't adjust your computers, your laptops, your phones, your televisions if you're watching these on television. This is a very late in the evening race. We're in about we're in the 9 o'clock hour now, right? So this is actually dark ambient light, and then you see the Musco light towers that they have in some of these corners are lighting up some of these corners. But this is, and here comes Caleb on the pit road. Look at those rotors light up under the shadow portions there. The no
they
light
always
portions.
Look,
they look great.
Glowing carbon brake discs always look cool, especially at night. You see that a lot at Le Mans and IndyCar. It always looks cool as well. It doesn't matter what kind of car it is. As Bensi comes in for his last stop of the night. He's got to put on the reds. That is indeed what he is doing. Bensi down and away, looking to see where Welker comes out. He's coming around the final corner down the front stretch. Bensi trying to get up to speed. A little bit of a twitch there.
Yeah, he's trying to get those. He's trying to twitch those tires up in temperature.
Yeah,
he comes out. He comes out ahead.
As possible.
He does come out ahead.
He does come out ahead.
But remember what happened last time he was trying to bring tires up a temperature.
Let's see, is he right here exactly? He's kept it clean there so far. Good job, Caleb. But Mitch Welker has got hot rubber underneath him. He's going to try and use everything he can to close up before Bensi can get those tires up to temp.
Real quick, we have not shown the team points yet. We got a little time to show those. Here, the team point situation. Team Watson Racing by TWR is your points leader. AAIR with Project 2, right there about 20 behind. FBR Motorsports with TWR is a distant third. Of course, there is your remainder of your top 10. And also the Safest Driver Award. There's going to be a cash prize of this, actually. And Mitch Welker currently is your safest driver. Go figure.
Safest driver is also the fastest driver. It's almost as if that's related or something.
Let's pop on. Let's pop into get one of the cams inside of Caleb's car here. Not that one. There we go. The camera over the shoulder. Look how dark it is.
Amazing. And of course these cars don't have headlights. This is basically just whatever visibility they can get and driver intuition that they're working with right now. Bensi, down the backstretch we go. Up in the sixth gear. This is over 170 miles an hour. Going to be touching 180, over 180.
In the dark.
185 miles an hour onto the brakes. Second gear for this chicane. Find the grip you need. Down the hill. Uphill through a very fast turn one. Fourth gear through here. A lot of drivers with lift in a lot of cars.
How do you see the point where you're going to turn in? I mean, everything is so off.
Well, with what little you can see, I think these guys say it's enough. Third gear as they come through the end of the S's. One of my favorite corners. One of my favorite sections of track anywhere in the world. Down to first gear. Just under 60 miles an hour as he gets on the throttle coming through that tight right-hander onto the back straight.
.6-second lead over Welker. He's got a couple lap cars up ahead of him. He may or may not get there before we run out of time. Coming to 4 to go. That's what the driver's eye sees right there.
A 106.255 for Caleb Bensey that time around. That may well be fastest lap.
Not the fastest. What do I see the fastest? Christian Jasper,
a
106.1 I see as the fastest.
Yeah, 106.177 for Christian Jasper last time around. Fantastic lap for the 44 machine.
Yeah, he's by himself on those tires right at the peak of their performance before they start to fall off. But I think he just set the purple lap. Good on him.
Well done, Christian Jasper tonight. And really, there usually is one specific lap that in the life of any tire set that you want to get the maximum out of if you want to go for fastest lap. And this may well be it, because we saw earlier in the run, the red tire does tend to fall off the pace pretty early on, as Bensey last time by was a 106.6.
Hey, check out this battle brewing for Check out this battle brewing for P4. Gavin Sanders has run down Nick Johnston.
Indeed, he has. Gavin Sanders making up for a rough start in his own right. The same with Mitch Welker.
Nick Johnson, the fastest beard in IndyCar.
Johnston trying to maybe distract Sanders with how glorious that beard is. Trying to throw him off his game. Sanders making good time trying to catch up to Johnston. Johnston was a tiny bit quicker last time by, though. Of course, catching him is one thing, passing him is another, as we always love to say. We're coming to 2 laps to go this time by.
Welker down 3.6 seconds now.
Mitch Welker seems to be, that's the case. Welker is definitely losing time right now to Bensey, as Bensey's got a lap car to deal with there. That's Tommy Joe Valenzuela letting him by.
Letting him on by there, and the old Andretti Rossi livery. Of course, Rossi will be driving for somebody new next season.
Yeah, driving for McLaren next season.
So how about this rumor today? I don't know if you saw it. We got 2 laps to go. For the Ganassi car that normally would be driven by Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's going to race him on the ovals. Kimi Räikkönen will drive them on the road course.
That is an interesting rumor.
I don't know how true that rumor is. I don't know how BS that rumor is or what, but I saw it earlier today, and I'm like, I can only imagine Kimi's interviews in the garage area after an event he doesn't like. I'm sure he's going to be next to impossible to interview, but Caleb using push to pass, pulling away here. 4 seconds now. 2 laps to go. Coming to the white flag, if you can see it, is probably going to be gray.
Also, I will say, if Kimi comes over to IndyCar, if that rumor holds true, I think the entire racing community is going to fall in love with IndyCar again. After Alonso did the Indy 500, whoa, there was a car off there.
I'm not sure who it was, yeah.
That was Hugo Gallas, I think, went off there. Lost a position to Logan Spath in the process. That was 10th place. But anyway, I think the IndyCar community will have a legion of new international fans that will see IndyCar as really a top-tier racing series as well. If Kimi Räikkönen comes over...
Well, Kimi's got to race Indy, too. I mean, you got to put him in the other team car for Indy.
Oh,
you can't. I mean, he can race the rest of the road courses, but you got to put him in the car at Indy. I mean, come on. But just a couple corners to go for Caleb Bensey to seal up a masterful run.
Amazing job, Caleb Bensey. Down the hill for the last time. He finally break the Mitch Welker streak on the road courses. Caleb Bensey wins at Road Atlanta. Welker will come home second after a rough start. Very solid effort for him tonight. And Nate Siefker rounds out the podium. Johnston, this battle for 4th place. Johnston holds on to 4th position ahead of Gavin Sanders.
Here comes Christian Jasper, who has the Red Bull lap in hand, apparently, coming into 10A and 10B. And he's coming home with a top 10 himself here. Good showing for he and his team.
Rodrigo Munoz, Frankie Francischia, and Matthew Short will be the top 9 cars. The only ones left on the lead lap, Logan Spath, will be position number 10.
And here comes Matthew Short with a top 10. Anytime you can finish in the top 10 in the FIS, it is a good day, or in this case, night. Now let's take a look at today's final standings here from Road Atlanta. The Sanders Motorsport Petit Indy. Caleb Bency with his first win of the season. Much in the waiting for that one. Caleb gets the win. Mitch Welker, P2. Nate Seifert, P3. Nick Johnson, P4. Gavin Sanders rounding out the top 5. Your top 10, Christian Jasper with a great run. Rodrigo Munoz with a great run in P7. Frankie Francischia, solid top 10. Matthew Short, of course, we just showed him finishing 9th. Another top 10 for him. Logan Spath, another good race for him in the top 10. Your top 15, Gallus, DeMay, Valenzuela, Houston, Groff, all managed to bring the car home. Maybe had a little troubles one form or another, but still bring it home. 16th through 20th, White, Aldrich, Miglin, Miranda with that spin coming off of pit road, that costing him. Padahar, that great duel with Sanders. We'll see how that results. 21 through the remainder of the field here. Valenzuela, Sykes, Digby, Claiborne, Facundo Rago in his IndyCar debut, a disappointing 25th. Believe me, Facundo, there have been others who have debuted in IndyCar that have finished less than that. I'm telling you, just bad luck. JJ Wang knows what I'm talking about. JJ, bad luck there at the start. Joshua Tucker and Peter Donchek round out the remainder of our 28-car field. And let's see. Who's in the interview room? You do have a Lionheart race tonight, do you not?
Well, I missed the practice race so far tonight, so I guess I could say I've nothing to lose now. I've already got my practice in last night, so I think I know how my car's going to handle for tomorrow night's big race at Barber.
I wasn't sure if we had to get somebody out of here quickly. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and let's bring in Nate into the broadcast booth, and let's see. Let's ask him if he was wearing his sunglasses at night. Hey, Nate, got you here in the booth. A P3. First of all, great paint job. I love the paint job on the car. It looks great, but racing with sunglasses on at night, was it your way to run around here, or was it hard to see? Tell us about it here as the closing laps wrap this race up. It got pretty dark out there.
I don't know how to put it bluntly, but that was like the most difficult, frustrating league environment that had been in a while, or combo, was just how dark it was. I mean, it was, I don't know how hard it was to see on the broadcast, but it was pitch dark in a lot of the areas. So you're basically guessing the entire lap. The last 10 laps there, it was completely dark, and I gave up on catching Mitch and Caleb and just protected the gap I had to Nick. So it was okay. I mean, it was, I think it needed to be about 30 minutes earlier. It would have been just fine, but yeah, that was something else to do that combo with the lighting conditions we had.
Yeah, that was certainly something we saw was going to be an issue. Running basically around 9 o'clock at night was around the checkered flag came out. So and I would say a lot of it, having driven this track before, but not quite exactly in that sort of situation. I've of course driven prototypes here, and I've driven Indy cars in the daytime here. Probably what you would have liked. And a lot of it was probably just relying on intuition, I guess you could say.
I mean, yeah, it was. You had to know the track. You had to kind of get a rhythm. That second stint, I had a pretty decent rhythm. But the second, you couldn't see an apex or exit curb, that rhythm went away, like real bad. So, it was its own entirely different set of challenges. That's probably the closest thing we'll have to a wet race in terms of different conditions at the moment on iRacing, because that's literally how it felt. You literally had to guess the entire time and you reduce your pace, I think. So I think a couple people went faster, but that's just because they had the fresher tires. So that was definitely if that gets voted again to do something like that, I will be on the hard no bus on that one.
And I don't think too many would blame you.
Yeah, well, that was yeah.
Yeah, treacherous conditions, but still, you bring the car home onto another podium. That's a win last week or 2 weeks ago, a podium here. All in all, not too bad. Didn't make up much ground on Mitch Welker there, but did make up some ground on Nick. Next week, going to VIR. I believe you've been there with us before. Your thoughts about VIR before any shout-outs?
Yeah, we led laps there the last time we went, and I think Gavin won, and I crashed out at Oak Tree, chasing him down. So we'll try not to do that this time, thankfully. But yeah, it's a tricky track to pass on, kind of like this in a sense. You get some long straights that break it up, kind of some fast-flowing stuff. So lap 1 will be interesting there. I think I started like 5th there and came out of turn 1 last time in P1. So hopefully we lead some laps there again. Hopefully we get a win. I think you got to look at Mitch to beat him. That's the guy to beat. So we'll go there and see what we can do, I guess.
Shout outs.
I want to thank TWR for being on the team. A lot of great guys in there tonight. It was kind of chaotic, especially when the darkness came, because we were all trying to guess, and basically me and Nick had to tell him to be quiet a couple times because it was just too much noise going on, and we had to focus hard. So thank all those guys. Want to thank the league admins, thank you in the broadcast booth, and of course I want to thank my main sponsor, the Midwest Kidney Warriors, for all the support towards me. They advocate to find living donors for those currently needing a life-saving transplant, and also mentor those that's currently on dialysis. So their website, by the way, is MidwestKidneyWarriors.com. It's a great website. I strongly encourage a lot of you to check it out.
Well, good luck and paint job to put that sponsor on the side of that car. Congratulations on the podium and just, surviving under the different conditions. Throwing a curveball at everybody after the oval race, I guess. But congratulations again on the podium, and we'll see you at VIR.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, let's bring down Mitch Welker, who is currently muted. Hey, Mitch, bringing you on down. Just saw you muted. I don't know if you are now, but hey, congratulations on surviving the race in the dark there at the end. Tell us about your race and especially your start. What happened?
Just blew it up. So.
Okay. Quick but short there. Other than that, you recovered pretty well. You do have about a 2 1/4 race now, a little bit more, I think, with the way the points shake out lead going into VIR. Are you beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, just as long as we keep finishing ahead of Nick and keep having decent races, we're looking good to clinch after VIR. So yeah, that's the plan at the moment. Looking good.
Steven, you got anything?
Yeah, it's looking very strong for you for the championship tonight. And what would you say is of course we all know you and your team do the homework tonight. Of course, not everything can account for every externality that'll happen out there, as we all know. But that recovery was really, really well done, and I would think that would you say that if you hadn't had that, Bensi would not have won this race? I would think so.
I mean, potentially, but we still ran the wrong strategy. We didn't think it would go that dark into the night with the track temp falling as much as it did. The red started to become a decent tire for the final 10, 15 laps. So we should have run really what Bensy did. Bensy did the exactly correct strategy, I think, for today. And I guess all we can say is well done to him, and we'll go back and do a little work on it and make sure we're ready for the next one. Didn't get a lot of chance to run this track this week, so and especially in the dark. So like I said, we just really didn't anticipate that change in track temps. So that was the deal this time, and yeah, so that's kind of all it was.
And of course, next time out, we're going to Virginia International Raceway, another track that Indy cars don't normally run on. What do you feel about going there?
I really like VIR. Looking forward to that one. I didn't like this combo a lot. Just really, really finicky with the IndyCar. Not that VIR will be too much better in that regard, but at least I do like VIR a lot more. So looking to just have a decent race there. Nothing stupid. Hopefully seal up the championship then.
You got it. Shout outs?
Yeah. Obviously the regular sponsors, LW Haugen, Lazy Rocket, and the Open Medicine Foundation. Pretty disappointed it couldn't get done for my dad. He was on the car tonight, obviously, and passed away recently, obviously. And yeah, just disappointed I couldn't get it done for him. But I know he'll know I tried, so try my best, and I always have, I always will. So,
Hey, all the best to you and your family, man. That's always a hard thing to go through. We want to be we're there for you, bud.
Thanks much.
And as a parent myself, and parents are always proud of their children regardless of what happens, so I'm sure he would be proud. Congratulations though on the P2 and surviving the elements. We look forward to seeing you back here in VIR, and we start getting into the scenario of the magic number of when we're going to finally clinch this championship in your inaugural season here in the FIS. So we're getting that close. So congratulations, and we'll see you at VIR.
See you then. Thanks, guys.
Hey, it sounds like a very disappointed but a very exhausted Mitch Welker there.
I definitely did.
Yeah, that man, a few words. It's just like what happened there in the start is just blew it.
Yeah.
And then you have that really awkward silence. Okay, you're not going to elaborate. All right, well, we'll move on.
Kind of Kimi Räikkönen-esque, which is funny because we were talking about him earlier.
Very Kimi Räikkönen, exactly. But let's bring down our winner, Caleb Bensy. Caleb off to Schneid for the season. You get the win. I believe this is your third win in the FIS, so I think you've had like one win the last 3 seasons in a row, I believe. And I tell you what, after coming off a rough couple of weeks leading up into Michigan, to get on the podium there and to get a win here and the nature that you did it, man, it's got to feel real good.
It definitely does. It's this whole stretch in general across all leagues has been quite tough. Like, school, everything it's been quite the heavy load. So I feel like the sim racing has taken a little bit of a hit from that. But there's certain tracks that just kind of fit your driving style and set match that as well. And Road Atlanta is just one of those tracks. I'm not really sure why. It's just it flows super nice. You can it actually rewards you for pushing harder, pushing the limits, bouncing the car around, sliding it around and stuff. So it just fits my style, I guess. So that was pretty awesome. I don't know if I was expecting a win tonight, aiming for a podium, but yeah, to get a win is definitely awesome.
Well, let's talk about bouncing that car around after your first pit stop, going out of turn 5 there. Got a little squirrely 2 laps in a row. I think it's just kind of a nature of the conditions being late in the evening, cool track temperatures. Was it just bringing those tire temperatures up to temperature rough, difficult?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's always bad, especially like at these faster tracks, but it was even worse obviously with the cold temperatures for sure. But yeah, that moment, that took a couple corners to get the heart rate back down because I was really crossed up because I like to use that curve a lot and really let it just dance around and stuff. And the tires just were not ready for that at all, and barely got it. And then actually on that final stop, coming out of the pits, I hit the pit limiter to release it, and I hit instant wheel spin. And
I saw that, and I was wondering if you were. I was wondering if you were trying to bring the tires up to temperature and aggressively, and I'm like, well, that's probably a good, safe place to do it, but I didn't bother to think of you releasing the button and then all of a sudden getting all this instant wheel spin, but I guess that would explain that as well.
I wish that was intentional, but no, I mean, that was arguably even worse than the other one. Like, I was full lock, inches from the wall, like, and then I couldn't even accelerate up the hill, like, it was all over the place, so, yeah, that was very, very sketchy, but I mean, that's kind of how you have to drive the track, and that's what makes it so fun.
Steven?
Yeah, and of course, Road Atlanta, I would have, like you were talking about before, that the curbing here can really catch out drivers and things of that sort. Comparing the IndyCar here, an open wheeler, to a sports car here, like a LMP or something like that, what do you think, like, what would you say the big difference would be, aside from the fact that at night, these cars don't have headlights?
Yeah, so I actually drove the P2 quite a bit here, because of Petit Le Mans, just joined some sessions. I just love driving the track. And, yeah, the P2 is a little more, like, free-floating, I guess, if that's the best term I could think of, but, the IndyCar, you just have to, like, push braking zones super, super hard, and obviously the faster you go through a corner, the more downforce you have, so it's just kind of extracting a little bit extra. It's just, so the P2 is a tiny bit more relaxed in that sense, and I feel like the IndyCar just takes that little bit of extra effort and intensity, but I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but overall, like, no matter what car you drive, anything that has downforce, whatever, this is a great track for it with the high speeds, and yeah, it's definitely a good time.
Next up is VIR. Last time we were there, I won't say it was one of your better races. You did have the fastest lap when we went there last, but I think you had a 9th place finish and then an 8th place start, so it wasn't really a good day. I would say subpar, definitely, when it comes to Caleb Bensey standards. But you get another chance of redemption to go back at it. Looking at VIR differently this time, possibly?
Yeah, I feel like if I remember right, I had, like, no practice at all at that track, so I made like 2 spins and everything, so yeah, I love the track. Like, I remember that was one of the few races where I made a lot of mistakes but still, like, enjoyed it because it was just a fun track to drive. So yeah, hoping that kind of carries over. It's just, I wouldn't say the same as Road Atlanta, but similar in style, in terms of pushing and letting the car hang out in some places. So yeah, hopefully carry the momentum on. I mean, this is, like I said, I wasn't really expecting anything like this tonight, so yeah, hopefully can carry that on to some future tracks for sure.
Shout outs.
Yeah, I got a text from some grandparents, so thanks to them as always for tuning in. Always appreciate the support. Mom, dad, anyone else who's watching. Yeah, and RaceVerse as always, tuning in to the broadcast as always. Love the broadcast as always from you and Steven and everything. So thanks to you guys. And Fawn and Fanny, if you haven't checked it out yet, check them out, fawnandfanny.com, custom body care, all the above. So yeah, honestly, just a super awesome to finally get a win. It's been a bit of a tough few weeks, so it's good to turn it around a bit.
Well, 3rd win in the FIS among all the other series that you have wins in, so congratulations. You earned it. Go take the night off, and we'll see you well at VIR.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you guys.
All right, take care. All right. Well, I actually brought up our historical information about VIR, and that was in season 2 of 2021 where we raced there. Nicholas Johnston got the win. Gavin Sanders was right behind him all the way to the end there, less than a second interval at the finish line. And Rodrigo Munoz actually finished on the 3rd step of the podium there. I do remember interviewing him, and he was very happy about that finish. We said, I think we had 25 cars show up for that race, so about the same number that showed up for this. So hopefully we're looking at the same level of participation. And well, we might have a championship get clinched, depending on how things shake out at VIR next week.
Indeed, it's been kind of a long time coming right now for Mitch Welker. Wasn't quite the run he wanted tonight, but of course P2 is no slouch. But VIR could definitely seal an amazing championship for Mitch Welker, one that I'd say, given all the work he's put in, fully deserved, I would think. It's been a fantastic season for him, and we'll see what kind of racing VIR can put on. Some people tend to have mixed opinions about VIR, especially in the sports car racing scene. Open wheelers you don't tend to see too often down there in Alton, Virginia.
No,
but but very much. It's a very challenging track, very fast, very flowing, but of course it's got its own major challenges. Some even called it a miniature interpretation of the Nürburgring in terms of its difficulty. VIR is really a challenge, and I think it's going to be an interesting one with open wheelers.
Well, that's it for tonight. Once again, your podium for the Sanders Motorsport Petit Indy from Road America is Caleb Bency with the win, his third career FIS win. Mitch Welker on the podium, but not sounding too happy. Nate Seifert, finishing third, and he actually sounded pretty happy, getting ready to go into this race here at VIR. Championship is still open, but not by much. Join Steven and myself again next week as we head up the coast to VIR for round 9 of season 2 of 22 of the RaceVerse Formula Indy Series. Start time is at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Ring the bell and mark the calendars now. That's next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube at youtube.com/RaceVerse. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support RaceVerse with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of tonight's race. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so don't miss out on more of RaceVerse's iRacing programming, including the Monday Night Indy Fix Series that Steven and I cover, and on Saturdays, the Indy Open Strength of Field afternoon race. You can find that all here on RaceVerse. Hey, keep your browser set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge and all of iRacing. RaceVerse, we know what Indy means. Petit Indy sponsorship paid for by Sanders Motorsport. With over 30 years of racing experience, Sanders Motorsport team can help you from the race shop to the finish line. Whether you're new to the sport or a seasoned veteran, our team can customize a package that will have you on the podium in no time. Everything from a total arrive and drive experience to trackside support with your own race car. Sanders Motorsport has what you need to have a successful weekend or season at the track. To learn more, go to sandersmotorsport.ca today. For business inquiries and to learn more about RaceVerse and what we do, visit raceverse.com. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. Here, all of our Twitter handles right there. Boom, at the bottom of the screen. Got myself, got Stevie, and we even got Justin on there, but we'll allow that one. So that is everyone here on the broadcast. So for Stephen Larkamp, everyone at RaceVerse, I'm Gary Gatto saying off. Thanks for watching, and to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed. God bless them. Come home safe. Catch us again next week in Virginia International Raceway or at the Virginia International Raceway for the next race of the RaceVerse Formula Indy Series. Good night.